This is Angel Stadium. These are people wearing red. They're clapping their thunder sticks together. They hope to have no need for the rally monkey. They hope to force a game 6 on, I don't know, Tuesday night in Chicago. And off we go. The starting lineup for the White Sox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Scott Podsednik leads it off in left. Tadahito Iguchi is batting in the number 2 spot again. Jermaine Dye. Paul Konerko cleans up. Everett the DH. Rowand at center. Brzezinski at catcher. Creedy at third. And Juan Uribe is the shortstop batting ninth. Baseball fans, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. And with that, Paul Byrd throws his last warm-up toss. And the right-hander who won 12 games during the regular season and won game 1 of this ALCS is on the mound, and we learn more about the veteran right-hander.
Well, when you think of Paul Byrd compared to any of the White Sox starters, he's in no way like them because he teases hitters with balls off the plate. And as we said in game 1, he has the most unusual changeup that any of us have ever seen, a one-fingered changeup developed during the season.
Podsednik first up, and it's a strike over the outside corner. Scott last night walked 3 times and tripled. He has a 10-game hitting streak against Angels pitching. Slashed foul. It's 0-2. The White Sox have outscored the opposition in the first inning 12-2. And this postseason, when they score first, they're 5-0. Ball 1. Byrd in that start went 6+, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, a walk, a strikeout. Creedy hit a home run against him, but a 3-2 win for the Angels in game 1. 2-2.
That's that one-fingered changeup we were talking about.
It's a very effective pitch, especially to left-hand hitters.
Pretty good pitch. That's good enough. 1 away. Byrd almost got him on the pitch before that. See how the Angels cover the field. It's brought to you by State Farm. Rivera in left, Anderson in center. That's a change. Garrett Anderson agreed to play center before tonight's game. Guerrero in right. Kennedy is the second baseman. He has not made an error in 24 career postseason games. He's joined by Figgins, Cabrera, and Erstad, with Benji Molina doing the catching. 1 out, nobody on, and here is Iguchi. White Sox up 3-1. The Astros up 3-1 with a 2-1 win today over St. Louis. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The field's got a little bit of that sawdust on it. It rained a little bit here this afternoon.
It poured from time to time last night. On the outside corner, strike 2. Because of the forecast after last night's game, they actually covered the field. As Lou talked about, you can see that diamond dry, and Iguchi is hit again. He was hit last night. The infield has that diamond dry on top of it. It's 1 on, 1 out as Byrd hits Iguchi up in the ribs.
That was a ball that just got away from Paul Byrd. It looked like a slider that just slipped out of his hand. And for the second night in a row, as you said, Joe, Iguchi is hit.
So Iguchi is on, 1 out, and Jermaine Dye steps in. Dye so far in this series 3 out of 15, 2 RBIs. Ball 1.
For Byrd to be effective, he's got to be able to pitch inside, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here early in the first inning.
Good rip by Dye, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. It's Paul Byrd and Jose Contreras tonight. Ozzie Guillen before the game telling us he hopes his club has to stay around for an extra hour tonight so they can celebrate. He wants to win it here in Southern California, does not want to run the risk of getting this series back to Chicago and giving the Angels any life. Strike two.
Sosa on the other side loves deep dish pizza. And the best place to get it, Chicago.
Best deep dish pizza in the country.
And I'm sure Mike eats a lot of it.
He loves it.
Lou, you say that affectionately.
I like it myself. I like Mike Sosa.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Dye is jammed. And a little flare. In comes Rivera. Can't get to it. Aguchi holds at second. Rivera very deep in left, and Dye is on with a flared hit. He was jammed. He got enough of it to get it beyond Cabrera and in front of Rivera.
You would think that that ball had enough hang time that it's got to be caught either by Cabrera or Dye. Or I should say Rivera. If Rivera can't get to a ball like that, then he's too deep. I mean, when a pitcher makes a pitch like that and gets that type of hit, you've got to catch the ball. Somebody's got to catch it.
I think it was more the left fielder's ball than the shortstop ball. That ball went out there to short left field. I don't know if the outfielder got a good jump or what, but I agree. The ball should have been caught.
So it's 2 on with 1 out for Konerko, who has gone deep in the first inning each of the last 2 nights. Byrd wanted that pitch, didn't get it. Asked Ed Rapuano where it missed. Ball 1.
Yeah, Konerko's hurt the Angels more than any other hitter in that lineup. They've got to find an answer for him.
Konerko with 31 first inning RBIs during the regular season. That was the best in Major League Baseball. 5 this postseason, and there's a strike.
Good slider that backed up, stayed in the strike zone.
Byrd and the Angels trying to keep the White Sox off the board here in the first. 2 on, 1 out. Scooped up by Molina, 2-1.
You can get Konerko to chase as long as the breaking ball has the illusion of a strike. But if the breaking ball stays in that strike zone, Konerko can extend on it and do some damage.
We've seen that the last 2 nights. 2 breaking balls, 2 3-run homers.
Both on 3-2 pitches. That pitch was hittable, and Konerko fouled it back. 2-2. A new sensation and an old sensation for Konerko and the White Sox. Back-to-back 40 home run seasons. And the sensation for the White Sox has been home runs in the first in games 3 and 4. And he has a chance here in game 5. 2 on, 1 out, and a 2-2 count.
Lou talked about it in game 1, how Konerko cuts down his swing with 2 strikes.
That's in the air to right. Guerrero is there, 2 down. Aguchi tags and will make it to third. First and third, 2 out.
Pretty good swing there by Konerko with 2 strikes. Stayed inside the ball and lined it. Unfortunately, right at Guerrero. He's been impressive in this series, no doubt.
So the Angels get past Konerko. The relay by Cabrera too late. We talked when we came on the air about the difference in last night's game. According to Ozzie Guillen, was Aguchi tagging and advancing a base on a fly ball to center by Dye last night. And at this point, it's a small thing. It could be a big thing if Paul Byrd bounces one here to Everett.
It's a bigger thing, too. You've got the first base hole open now. You've got to hold the base runner. When you got runners on first and second, your first baseman can be deep. So that's a big advantage with the left-hand hitter up for the White Sox.
Everett with a chance to put Chicago on top. John Cooper just making sure the phone works to the bullpen. He hasn't had to use it. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Like Everett, with that leg lift, fouls one off his right knee. See how close that right foot is to home plate. But as the pitch is on its way, he opens up.
Runners at the corners, 2 out, and Everett pops it up. Paul Byrd has done something the Angels haven't been able to do the last 2 nights. Hang a 0 in the first. Angels trying to stay alive. Come to bat. Take a look at the lineup for the Angels. It's a little different tonight. And you look at the stat that will roll into the bottom of the list. Figgins, Cabrera, Anderson, Guerrero, Erstad, Molina, Kochman in there again, Rivera, and Kennedy. No Finley. His bat is on the bench for Mike Scioscia. That lineup sponsored by Taco Bell, and at the bottom it showed you that this Angels team is hitting 177 in the ALCS. They scored a total of 8 runs. Figgins, every time he looks up, it's 0-2.
That's a nice aggressive swing by Figgins on that pitch. You know, the Angel hitters face a little bit of a predicament here. They can't afford to get overly aggressive because they haven't walked much, but they don't want to get themselves in these 2-strike situations because they'll have to hit Senor Tumbolina.
Is that the forkball?
That's the name for the Cuban forkball.
Senor
Tumbolina.
Tumbolina. Not to be confused with Thumbelina.
Exactly.
Sounds like something you'd order from a Cuban restaurant.
There's the Thumbelina, and it misses low for ball 1. Cabrera will follow, then Garrett Anderson, a late switch to this lineup. Figgins in the air to right center field. Rowan, 1 out. Scouting report on the man who possesses Thumbelina.
Jose Contreras with a world of confidence. He's lost only 1 game since August 15th. A devastating forkball. Now the difference, for those of you who may not know, the difference between a forkball and a splitter is a forkball is held back in the grip. The splitter is held more toward the fingertips. So fingertip splitter, forkball, as you can see, back between the index finger and the middle finger.
Ball 1 up and into Cabrera. Taking a strike, it's 1-1. One of the reasons that Mike Scioscia thinks his lineup is struggling, and Lou, you brought it up to him, only 2 walks handed out by the White Sox to Angels hitters. Here's a pop-up, and Contreras off the mound to grab it for out number 2. With 2 out, nobody on, we look at the White Sox and how they cover the field. It's brought to you by State Farm. Podsednik, Rowand, and Dye in the outfield. Creedy, Uribe, Iguchi, and Konerko on the infield, with Pierzynski doing the catching. And for more on that late lineup change, which includes the man digging in at the plate right now, Garrett Anderson, let's go to Chris Myers.
Hey, Joe, at the last moment, Mike Scioscia wanted to put Vladimir Guerrero in the cleanup spot, Garrett Anderson third, because he wanted to go lefty-righty throughout the lineup against Contreras. And hitting coach Mickey Hatcher told me that Guerrero had his best batting practice of this series before the game. They had their pitching coach throw Guerrero low pitches so he could feel his legs more and compress his swing. Hatcher said Vladimir's confidence is key. All it takes is 1 swing to turn this around. He said, forget about desperate housewives. These are desperate angels on a Sunday night.
Here's a pitch down and in to Garrett Anderson. In fact, Scioscia said it could turn around even on a foul ball back to the screen. If he feels like his timing is back. That's Guerrero. This is Anderson, and he is way out in front. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. What we were talking about as you look at this replay is Socia said, well, it's one thing to not get walks, but if you wait around, they've been so good with first pitch strikes against us. You look up and you're in the hole. Anderson.
It's quite a predicament.
Coming into the game, the Chicago White Sox had thrown 81 first pitch strikes in 127 plate appearances. 65% of the strikes on the first pitch.
Anderson trying just to get a piece as he's been out in front of the last 3 deliveries. Still 1-2.
As compared to the league average of what, Timmy?
59%. You don't want to get bogged down with numbers. The whole thing is when you're throwing a first pitch strike, the odds of getting a hitter out go up dramatically.
Anderson, another foul. Yet I think it's nice of Lou to give you the opportunity to get that stat out since you had your abacus and your protractor and compass out figuring that out before game 5.
I did it longhand.
With the bases empty and 2 out. Anderson, not much hard from Contreras in this at bat to Garrett Anderson.
One thing I've noticed here, the fans are more into this ball game earlier than the other two. They're waiting to explode if the Angels can just supply some hitting punch.
Well, the White Sox took them out of the game in the first inning in games 3 and 4.
On 1-2, Anderson finally gets a pitch to hit, and he dumps it into left.
After all of those fork balls, he jams him with a fastball and kind of loops one into left field. I think the thing about Vladimir Guerrero, what he's been doing is pulling that left side. That's probably, for major league hitters, the worst thing that they could do and the most prominent thing that they do when they're hitting poorly is letting that left shoulder fly if you're a right-handed batter.
1 on, 2 out. Guerrero off the end of the bat, pops it up. Shallow right center field. Iguchi is there, and Vladimir Guerrero is now 1 for 17 in this series. He has 1 RBI this entire postseason. They can't get some pop from Guerrero yet. Second inning, no score. Aaron Rowan got a hit last night. He's 2 out of 15 in this LCS, and he takes on the inside corner strike 1, and he's surprised to find out it was a strike. Home plate umpire Ed Rapuano. 0-1 pitch. Line down the right field line, slicing into the corner. It's a fair ball and a double. Good start for the White Sox here in the second as Aaron Rowan gets his 3rd hit of this series.
Fine hitting by Rowan. It appeared the ball hit on the line or very, very close to it. Angels fans are trying to pull it foul just inside the line.
Now that was a fastball on the inside part of the plate. He just stayed inside of it. Good piece of hitting.
Here's A.J. Pierzynski.
Pierzynski's job here, obviously, either get him in or get him over.
He is a career .395 hitter against right-handed pitching in the postseason. Last night he hit a mammoth home run into center in the 4th, and he's bunting. And Molina makes the play, 1 out. Sacrifice is good, 2-3. And Tim, you talked to Ozzie Guillen about bunting early, and they're trying to get a run on the board for Jose Contreras.
Bunted early 2 nights ago with Iguchi in the first inning. That turned into a 3-run home run. Now a fine bunt. Normally you don't do that with your 7th place hitter for the bottom of the order, but the bottom of the order for the White Sox, Joe Creedy and Juan Uribe, 2 pretty good RBI men.
They've been productive. Although I don't think Ozzie gave him the bunt sign. I think Pierzynski did that on himself.
Runner at third, one out. Infield is in, and Creedy takes a ball inside. I know some managers have that sign that leaves it up to the hitter. Get him over any way you can. If you want to bunt him over, bunt him over. You want to try and pull it, but it's up to you to get it done. And Pierzynski dropped down a bunt. Runner at third, one out. Infield in. Creedy takes inside. It's 2-0. The team that has scored first has won every game of this LCS to this point. That obviously includes the Angels in game one. The 2-0. Flied into center field. Rowan will tag and put the White Sox on top. Garrett Anderson is content to just flip it back into the infield, and it's 1-0 Chicago here in the second. So Creedy knocks in his 6th run of the postseason, his 5th in this ALCS. A double, a bunt, a sac fly, and a trivia question. Our Lunesta trivia question. Other than Adam Kennedy, which two players have also hit 3 home runs in a single LCS game? Kennedy did it back in 2002 in the clincher against Minnesota. The base is empty, 2 out. Uribe shows bunt, takes a strike.
When your starting pitching has been as good as the White Sox for the first 4 games of this series, you play the early innings like the late innings. And that's what Ozzie Guillen did, playing for 1 run in the second. Unusual, but effective.
0-2 on Uribe.
It's called fundamental baseball. Double, get them over, sacrifice fly, 1-0 lead.
They don't know what to do when it starts to rain in October in Southern California, but it's raining. Just adds to the ambiance here tonight at Angel Stadium. To the left side, Figgins charges it. Off we go into the bottom of the second. The Angels will bat with Erstad, Molina, and Kochman coming up. 1-0, the White Sox trying to clinch it on top. That's what the White Sox are trying to do here tonight. Take it on home and wait for the winner of the Astros and Cardinals for this year's World Series. The Angels would like to accompany them home for Game 6 on Tuesday night. World Series will start in the American League ballpark after the win by the AL in the All-Star game. Here's ball 2, 2-0.
Feel like you get ahead of Contreras. Feel like a free swing is coming up. Erstad will look inside.
2-1.
It's a bit of a surprise taking on that pitch. I mean, you get him in that situation, you want to swing at that ball.
Well, the ball was out away from him just a little bit.
As is that. Now the count's even, 2-2. When Contreras was struggling earlier this season, they picked him up back in July of 2004, and then he started this season really struggling. Ozzie Guillen pulled him into his office, and he said, just close your eyes, and when you open them, when you're on the mound, picture yourself pitching for Cuba against Italy or Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. See, I think Darren Erstad took himself into a strikeout pin. That's the one thing you can't do against Contreras. You take 2-0, and a couple of pitches, you foul the ball off, and now you got to hit this thing. And this thing's nasty.
It is nasty.
1 out, the strikeout of Erstad, and the batter will be Benji Molina. For the Cuban national team, Contreras put together a record of 117-50 and an ERA of 2.82. He was 2-0 during the 2000 Olympics, and he was the pride and joy on the mound for Fidel Castro. Molina's jammed, and he grounds to Uribe. He has time. 2 out.
In that Olympics, he threw 160 pitches in one game and pitched 2 days later and pitched a complete game. 160 pitches, had 1 day of rest, and then won a complete game.
Do you think, Timmy, that they had pitch counts in Cuba?
I think they had a lot of Senor Tombolinos. I'll tell you that.
Well, if you ask Ozzie Guillen, he'll tell you the reason why he pitched after that 1 day arrest is because Fidel Castro called
Right.
and told the manager Contreras is pitching.
We need a win today.
So Fidel Castro spoke and Contreras pitched and did his job.
Pretty powerful pitching coach.
Yeah. That power trumps Steinbrenner's power. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Kochman checked his swing and fouled it. Strike 2.
Or Trump's power. Trump's power. How about his comments about Alex Rodriguez today?
Well, they were somewhat surprising. I'm going to call Alex next time Trump builds a casino or golf course or another tower, that Alex give him some advice.
Donald Trump saying on a radio show that Alex Rodriguez puts up the big numbers in games that don't count, don't matter. So even Donald Trump's piling on A-Rod. We're through 2 innings here in Anaheim with the rain falling. Contreras through 2 shutout innings has a 1-0 Chicago lead. Once again, our Lunesta trivia question. Other than Adam Kennedy, which 2 players have also hit 3 home runs in a single LCS game? The answer, Bob Robertson, 1971 for the Pirates, Game 2 in San Francisco, and George Brett in 1978 against Pinella's Yankees for the Royals in Game 3 at Yankee Stadium.
What a hitter George Brett was. He had the prettiest weight shift of any hitter I've seen in the big league level the past 15, 20 years, 30 years.
Baseball swing just like a golf swing, huh?
Just like a golf swing on a different plane.
Here's a 1-1. Sednick takes up an away ball 2.
In fact, when I was managing in Seattle, Lee Ely, our hitting coach, would take a couple of our hitters at times to a golf pro to get them to get the feel of shifting back and shifting through and releasing the club head. And it helped.
That's a scam. You bought that as a manager?
I sure did. Either that or my hitting coach loved to play golf.
Yeah.
Use it as an excuse.
Look, Lou, I've got to take these guys to the golf course. We've got to straighten them out. And we're playing spyglass. But don't worry. We'll get their swings straightened around. Come on, Lou. 2 balls, 2 strikes. To the second baseman, Kennedy. 1 away. That'll bring in Iguchi, and the rain picks up a little bit.
Never hear of any golfers showing up at the batting cage, though, do you?
Well, actually, we had Tiger Woods. He was good friends with Ken Griffey Jr., and Tiger Woods would come over and take batting practice from time to time.
How'd he look?
He looked fine. Took him a few swings to get adjusted to that wood bat, but he lined the ball around the field, and I told him, I said, you know, we can give you an at-bat once in a while. He said, no, he says, I'm happy just with the BP.
Yeah. 0-1 is the count on Iguchi. There's a flaw to Angel Stadium. The rain actually lands in the broadcast booth. There aren't many umbrellas out. A lot of these people probably don't even carry umbrellas around with them. See some that look like they were purchased back in 1972. 0-2 pitch. Iguchi takes it inside. Ball 1. Chris, more on the rain.
It's coming down a little more steadily and a little heavier than the cameras can actually catch, Joe. In fact, the groundskeeper met with the umpires in between innings. The tarp was over the field over last night. The rain is supposed to clear through the area. Last rain out, in case you're wondering, in Anaheim, 95 against the White Sox. Never a postseason game rained out here, and of course it never rains in Southern California.
During the break, that's Jerry Crawford, the crew chief, along with Randy Marsh. And they got the weather report that Chris just gave us. 2 out here, and the base is empty for Jermaine Dye. Umpires have been heavily involved in this series and talked about a lot. And after today, with a game in Houston between the Cardinals and the Astros. They'll be the focus, at least one of the focuses of their Game 4. If you see an umpire somewhere, just go up and hug them. They need love. It's been a rough October.
Tony La Russa run from the Cardinals-Astros game, as was Jim Edmonds, the center fielder.
Here's an 0-2 from Bird. Wow. Right on cue.
You noticed how Molina just held the ball there, but he had to cross the plate to get the strike.
Wow.
But when you cross the plate, you often don't get that pitch. If you're setting up inside, you have to cross the plate to the outside, you don't get it. But that ball was a strike.
Either hug an umpire or hug Scioscia. He's getting tired of being on the short end of these calls. So the inning continues and the count's 2-2 on Jermaine Dye with Konerko on deck. Too far inside, it's a full count. And now Ed Rapuano turns and yells back at Scioscia. It's a full count. Dye singled his first time up. It was 2 on for Konerko, who flied to right, and then with first and third 2 out, Everett popped up. And in the second, a double by Rowan, a bunt by Pierzynski, and a sac fly by Creedy. And it's 1-0 White Sox, top of the third. Three-2 to the third baseman Figgins. Long throw, takes his time, and shows a good arm. Good play. Down go the White Sox for the first time tonight. 1-2-3. Rivera, Kennedy, and Figgins coming up for the Angels. Down 1. In a murder rap. The action returns Monday, October 24th. Here's a base hit down the line. Podsednik juggles it. Rivera's going to try and stretch it and make it. Good start to the third for the Angels.
Very, very good base running by Rivera. Knowing, since he plays left field, how wet the outfield is, would be a tough throw for Podsednik, who has to pivot to make the throw. Good base running by Rivera.
Well, Mike Scioscia juggled his lineup around tonight to get the bat of Rivera and the bat of Kochman in there. And to do that, he sat Finley. So Rivera starts this third with a double. That's how it's scored. And here's Kennedy.
White Sox are looking for a bunt. I wouldn't bunt here. You got Figgins on deck. He's been struggling. He has a tough time hitting a fly deep enough to get the runner in anyway.
Kennedy, a 300 hitter during the regular season. But they are shortened up, the White Sox are. And a throw down to second will head into center. Rivera to third. The throw by Rowan, too late. And Contreras just did for the Angels what Kennedy was up there to do, which is advance the runner.
And you can see Uribe is saying, come on, come on, come on. That's a daylight play. When there's daylight between the runner and the shortstop, the pitcher throws to the vacated base, knowing the shortstop's going to be there. The throw is low. And Rivera to third on an error by Contreras.
That's one of the few mistakes the White Sox have made in this series.
This series with runners in scoring position, 2 for 16 are the Angels. They hit just under 300 during the regular season when they won 95 games. Kennedy fouled, strike 1.
In this situation, if you're the White Sox pitcher, all you want to do is get out of this inning, give up the 1 run, and go on to the next inning. A younger pitcher might try to get out of this inning with no runs being scored. Before you know it, you got a big inning going.
Rivera is just the second leadoff man to reach in the last 20 innings for the Angels, and now he'll score. 1-1 on a base hit by Kennedy.
Contreras, like a lot of guys who throw the splitter and the fork ball, when they work from the stretch, they don't have the body, the movement in the lower part of the body and the high leg kick to get the fork ball down. They're more inclined to hang it. And this is a hanging fork ball laced to left center by Kennedy.
Contreras has been his own worst enemy in this series. He tried to turn a double play on a ball hit back to him the third inning of game one. They couldn't turn it and a run scored. Happened to be the difference in the game. And now here the throwing error leads to the RBI hit, and now Figgins will bunt, at least try to, strike one. Here's a spot where if you're Sean Figgins, you're not getting on base. You're not adding to the attack, and all the Angels need him to do is get the ball down and get Kennedy into scoring position for Cabrera, who's been so good with runners on in his career in the postseason.
He had one successful sacrifice in game one.
You got to add to the attack any way you can, and Figgins gets it down. The throw by Creedy, thought about trying to get Kennedy, and Figgins does his job.
Good fundamental baseball by the Angels, and Figgins laid down a really nice bunt.
Creedy had an idea about going to second. I think shrewdly went to first.
Well, I mean, if you go to second, even if you get him, Figgins is on.
Yeah,
he's going to run.
Right.
Contreras can't hold anybody on anyway, so you might as well take the sure out.
Sure.
Opponents 30 out of 32 in stealing bases against Contreras this season, including the postseason.
And the one thing Adam Kennedy will do, he won't steal second base, but he'll steal third.
Here's Cabrera. Orlando 6 RBIs this postseason. On the first pitch, he grounds to Uribe. 2 out. And it's going to be up to Garrett Anderson. So here's the switch that Mike Scioscia made within an hour before the start of tonight's game. He flip-flopped Anderson and Guerrero, putting Anderson in the number 3 spot. And here he is with a chance to put the Angels on top with 2 out in the third. Anderson took Contreras deep for a home run in game one. Ball 1. Back in game one, a no-doubter off the bat of Anderson, starting the second. They got a run there. They got 2 more in the third and held on for a 3-2 win. That gets away from Pierzynski and probably a pass ball. And it's 2-0 on Anderson. And it's a big deal with that runner at third, Tim.
That's right. With the fork ball thrown by Contreras, he led the major leagues in wild pitches with 20, sharing that dubious honor with Freddie Garcia, who won last night. Did this ball hit the dirt? No, it did not. Should be a pass ball.
Curious to see what he does with Anderson here. Same sequence, the first at bat. With 2 strikes, he lined a fastball to left field. Stayed with the split finger, fork ball.
3-0. They've ruled that a wild pitch, but clearly that should have been a pass ball as Pierzynski just boxed it. Anderson taking a walk.
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity here for Guerrero to jumpstart the Angel offense.
This is what he has done time and time again. Reaching for it, off balance, one ground ball after another.
Yeah, all those swings have one thing in common. That left shoulder's just not staying in there long enough, and he's reaching for the ball. But what a talented young man. In fact, when you look at Guerrero, The two guys that swing the bat the hardest in this league are this guy and Gary Sheffield.
And yet Guerrero's always been a consistent hitter. He's hit 300 every year and every month within every year. And yet here he is, came into this game with a career 196 batting average during postseason play. Only one RBI in this series, a chance to give his team the lead. Strike one.
You know, during the season, when a player gets in a rut like that, as a manager, you can sit him for a day or two, so you can relax. Playoff time, boy, you just stay in the lineup. You've got to hit your way out of it.
To the shortstop, another ground ball. Uribe throws to Iguchi, and Guerrero has not helped this Angels team at all in this ALCS. We go to the fourth inning. The Angels have tied it. It's 1-1. Paul Konerko first up for the White Sox, and Konerko is 0 for 1. He's driven home 6 runs in this series, and he gets under this ball into left. Juan Rivera is there. 1 out. The Pepsi Power Hitters home run leaderboard for the postseason. Konerko is on the list. He's gone deep 4 times. Garrett Anderson 3 times. His teammate Benji Molina 3 times. For the White Sox, A.J. Przinsky with 3. You think you've got the heart to homer with the best and score points at record speed? Log on to foxsports.com on MSN. Keyword is Pepsi. Here's Everett. Good breaking ball from Bird for strike one. They've now changed that wild pitch that they initially called against Contreras to a passed ball last half inning. It's academic. 0-2 on Everett.
Curveball, fastball away. Often the first pitch of a sequence is not the pitch designed to get a hitter out with. You show him that pitch and then go to other pitches.
And now Everett is having a little discussion with Rapuano.
We've talked about it before, but with 2 strikes, Everett will spread out a little more and do away with the leg kick.
And he wraps a base hit into center with 1 out. Go-ahead run is on for the White Sox here in the 4th on an 0-2 pitch. That'll bring in Aaron Rowan. Everett is now complaining to Tim Raines, his first base coach, about Ed Rapuano.
Here's what you're talking about, Lou. The leg kick, the high leg kick on the second pitch, fastball away. And now in the this is the second pitch strike once again. And now the 0-2 pitch, no leg kick.
No leg kick. Using his hands more.
Good breaking ball from Bird for strike one. Rowan doubled and scored his first time up. 13 home runs during the regular season. Played the heck out of center field, and Ozzie Guillen believes he should be a Gold Glover. That misses. A ball and a strike.
Early September, the Yankees and the White Sox played a series at Yankee Stadium. The White Sox won 2 out of 3. And I think Aaron Rowan in that 3-game series showed the city of New York how center field should be played. He was everywhere.
And not only the city of New York, but the media up there. And
right.
So many members have votes for postseason awards, and Aaron Rowan is trying to win a Gold Glove. Last outfielder for the White Sox to win a Gold Glove, Ken Berry, in 1970. 2-1.
Certainly one of the outfielders in the American League that deserves recognition, but there are a few others. Torrey Hunter in Minnesota can really go get the ball. Vernon Wells in Toronto,
who won it last year.
I had a guy in Seattle that really played center field well, Ken Griffey Jr.
I've heard of him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then we traded Jr. for another real good center fielder, Mike Cameron.
A little better try on the kickoff throw, but Everett's back.
And I know Mike had some problems physically this year. I hope he's fine. They had that incident where he and the left fielder ran together.
Just nasty with the Mets.
Collision with Beltran in San Diego in right center field, low to the ground, a horrible collision.
That is a hanging breaking ball, hook foul, crushed by Rowan. So as you look at Aaron Rowan at the plate, here's more about him. Childhood idol Walter Payton, favorite actor Matthew McConaughey. Favorite band you're listening to, Linkin Park. Favorite vacation spot, Jamaica Monk. All that bundled up in Aaron Rowan. And a nice play by Kennedy up to grab it. And he had to time his jump right, and he did. 2 out.
If you jump too soon on a ball like this, you're coming down as the ball's going up. Nicely done.
Really nice play. I thought he had just enough to get it over the infielder's head.
Good base running by Carl Everett. There are some runners who'd be doubled up on a play like that.
Now Everett's at first with 2 out for Pierzynski, who's greeted with boos every time he walks to the plate. Off the hand, shallow left, Rivera coming. He's there, and the inning is over. A hit by Everett. He's left at first. White Sox have stranded 3. Adam Kennedy showing some ups and some leather. Still tied at 1. Bottom of the 4th inning. Tied at 1. A pitch up and away to Darren Erstad to start from Jose Contreras. It'll be Erstad, Molina, and Kochman. Anybody gets on Rivera, who scored the only run tonight for the Angels, driven in by Kennedy last inning. Hard hit, nice pick by Konerko to his left, 1 out. During the break, we visited with a pitching coach for the Angels, Bud Black. Well, Bud Black, you have to be awfully pleased with what you're seeing from Paul Byrd. I saw he had a little meeting with some of the players down at the end of the dugout before those guys went out on the field, as Finley gives you a little shoulder bump. He's trying as best he can to get some life down in that dugout, it seems.
Yeah, Paul got the guys together right before he went out and gave him his best new Rockney. Hopefully it works. He's throwing the ball well, so let's hope it continues.
What is it that you look for to tell you that he is pitching and has his good stuff tonight?
If he's throwing the ball inside and getting in on some people, choking off their swings, which he's done tonight, that shows me his fastball is crisp, his breaking ball is getting in on their hands. That's usually a good indicator that he's throwing the ball well.
And as you guys face elimination, who isn't available, right? Your whole bullpen is stocked down there.
We got everybody. Hopefully, we're thinking that maybe Nolan Ryan or Frank Canana would come back, but we got everybody down there.
All right, thanks, Bud.
All right, guys.
That includes Jared Washburn. And it includes what could be a long night as Molina loses his bat. Could be a long night for Kelvin Escobar, who, according to Mike Scioscia, if it was necessary, could give the Angels 4 innings tonight. So far, so good from Byrd.
Well, Escobar hasn't pitched in the past couple nights, so he's nice and rested.
Was a starter at the beginning of the season. Here's a 1-2 from Contreras, 2-2.
Thought it was an interesting comment Bud Black made about choking off the hitter's swing. and getting inside. The last 2 outs the White Sox made, Aaron Rowan, the nice play by Adam Kennedy, and then he gets inside on Krasinski to end the inning.
The 2-2 to Molina, lined, caught by Uribe, but he throws anyway. It's the series with extra outs, and that's the second out of the inning. Uribe, I believe he thought he caught it, but just to make sure he didn't play umpire and threw it on to first, and with Molina running, an easy out, 2 down.
Every player on the field will make sure on any balls that are close to the ground. It's an easy call.
John Lackey is out in that pen tonight. As it stands right now, if this series continues, you know the next 2 starters for the White Sox, Burley and Garland, and for the Angels, they would love to not have to dip into Washburn and or Lackey, and they could use those 2 for games 6 and 7 in Chicago. With 2 out, here's a 1-0 to Kochman. 2-0.
Well, that's a luxury that Mike Scioscia doesn't have. Whoever is available tonight, whoever he needs to bring into the ball game.
With 2 down, Kochman was looking to rip, and it's 2-1. Well, Kochman wasn't waiting around, Tim, for a 2-0 pitch. He was ready to hack.
Yeah, 2 out, nobody on. You want to put the Angels ahead. Take advantage of the count.
Kochman, 7 home runs during the regular season, hit over 300 after he was recalled in August. Now it's 3-1, and he can look to hammer it again.
Earlier in the year, you could crowd him a little more with the ball, but after he came back from the minors in August, bat was much quicker.
Don't want to crowd him now. 3-1.
And a 2-out walk. Second walk in as many innings to the Angels from Contreras. This day in baseball history, October 16 of 1974. Kenny Holtzman, who hadn't hit all season, belted a 3rd inning home run against the Dodgers in Game 4 of the World Series. He's the winning pitcher with help from Raleigh Fingers in relief. For more MLB info, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, keyword Budweiser. 1 on 2 out for Juan Rivera, who has doubled and scored. Strike 1. Rivera, a former Yankee prospect, and he has gotten better every year swinging the bat. To the point where tonight, with the Angels facing elimination, Scioscia wanted to get his bat in the lineup. .93 miles per hour. Rivera in the hole 0-2.
That was a nasty 2-seam fastball. The 2-seamer running into the right-handed hitter and away from the left-hander. Doesn't mean he'll throw it.
Hanging pitch, and Creedy catches it down the line to end the inning. A walk, a man left. Angels have left 4. We go to the 5th. Game number 5, tied at 1. Back after this from your local station.